Alright guys, this is going to be the first video showing off the RC side of this channel. Now I'm going to start off by showing you this truck, which I built 2 or 3 years ago. It took a lot of hours because, believe it or not, this entire body is all made of sheet metal, much like the rat rod. Every single individual piece is bent by hand. All of these little parts in here, that's a little piece of sheet metal that I bent around a piece of it wasn't quite a 1/4 inch thick, but it was a piece of flat stock, and I would bend it around in a big long strip, and then I would cut each and every one, and I would weld it onto the side of the box for the detail, and same with the bottom, and then the top of the box is just rolled over. Anyways, I'm going to show you kind of this truck. Will give you a little look at it, kind of why I loved it, why I still love it, why I'm not going to run it again this year, and why I started building the truck that I'm working on now, and I'll show you that after. So this is some you might be familiar with, the military deuce and a halves. They're usually a 6x6, and I've always thought they were cool. I'd love to have one in real life, but that's not going to happen. But if I ever had one, I would bob it. I would take out one of the rear axles and just make it a 4x4, shorten it a little bit, and then you put on the bed from a military trailer, and it looks like a pickup bed. So that's really cool. So that's why I did that. So a lot of time and planning went into this thing, and if I could get the driver to come out, I can show you the inside. I'm trying to do this one hand because I am holding the phone. Hang on, let go of the shifter. Yeah. So the interior, I did pull the bench seat out because after a while, what I would do is I would I would have 2 batteries here, and then there'd be a thing that went on top so you couldn't see them, and then the driver would sit there. Did have a steering wheel that got ripped off and all the rollovers it's been in. You come around from the back, you can see the gauges and the 4x4 shifter and the gear shifter, which is extremely tall because I think it looks cool. So that's that. That dash is actually removable because there's an LED in behind the gauges that lights up when you turn it on. If I had batteries, I'd show you that. And as you can see, it actually has door handles that work. You come around to the back. Tailgate works as well. It's just got little, just like that. And then it's all dirty. You got my mat all dirty again, but that comes down. I've lost one of the screws. Of course, they always fall out. Little pinto hitch I made because I have a trailer, and I would usually put a couple little dirt bikes on the trailer, and I would haul that around if we were just doing little trails and stuff like that. Yeah, so this door opens up too, and I'll show you how the door handle works there. So you can see there's just a little thing welded to a nut there, backed onto this. This is actually a 3mm machine screw, and then I just bent up this little piece of metal, welded it into the head, and that is how the handle was made. And you come around to the front. That bow was on there because we did a Christmas crawl down in Toronto. I think it was outside John's Hobbies, right on the Danforth there. So that was super fun, but that's why that's still there. I can come off now because it's like March, almost April. So anyways, the hood opens up, and much like a deuce and a half, it has these little side panels that come off. So it's got one on both sides, or one on each side, I should say. Like that. That comes off. Now you don't have to take those off to open the hood, but just showing you. And you open it up, and this thing is so heavy. It weighs almost, it's almost 20 pounds with 2 nickel metals in it. Don't ask me why I ran nickel metals. I know. So I have dual 80-turn motors through a axial transmission. It's got upgraded steel gears. And then I was using a Traxxas speed controller just because it was cheap, and it already had the leads for dual motors and dual batteries, so that was a big help. wireless winch, the RC four-wheel drive winch. I'll get back to this. So from this, I will tip it up. So you can see transmission that's up there, and then it came all the way back. And under that plate is a GCM 1-to-1 transfer case. And then from there, it would go out to axial SCX10 or AX10 axles. And believe it or not, those axles, the drive shaft, the transmission, everything held up really well considering the amount of abuse this thing has taken over the past, God, 2 or 3 years. I forget how long I've had this thing now. But now it's getting really worn out. It needs new axles at this point. It needs new drive shafts. The bearings and the gears in that transfer case are pretty well shot. It needs a new transmission. The housing's getting worn out because it's not the gears wearing, it's the housing now, because it's the weak point now that I have replaced everything else in there, the gears and stuff. So that's that. I'm going to try and put this away without making too much of a mess, and then I will pull out what I'm working on now. Okay, moving on to my new project. If you've watched my other videos, you would see that I have not one but two first generation Chevy S10s. I kind of have a weird thing for them. Absolutely love them. I just love how square and boxy they are. So that is why I made this, or started making this. This has been a work in progress for a long time now. So this is an extended cab. I'm modeling it after an 89 S10 Baja edition. So I started this just after Christmas. It is now like March 28th or something. March 23rd? No, it's the end of March anyways. It's almost April. So I have probably 250 hours into this. And also I should state, I probably have 300 hours into the Metal Deuce and a Half. So the time comparison between this and that, pretty well the same. This might even take longer. So this is made of styrene, which is just this flat stuff here. This is really thin. I have thicker stuff that I've been using. So the reason I wanted to build this was, if you go online, there is a company that makes an S10, but it's a regular cab, and it's made of Lexan, and the detail isn't really there. And when you go to competitions like the Recon G6, detail is everything, and being as scale as possible means a lot when it comes to judging. And as you might be able to tell from the Deuce, I kind of like having things that nobody else has. I don't want to go there and be like everybody else and have the same body and all that. I want to go there and people go, what the hell is that? Where the hell did you get that? And then when I tell them I made it, I like to see the expression on their face. I like to stand out. I hate the idea of having something else that everybody else has. That's just not me. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to pull the tape off because I just painted this the other day and it's just been sitting. I've got to do a really fine sand now. I can still see all the scratches and stuff from sanding. So that's the cab. Let's see what else we got here. I'll set this. There's the front bumper. I've still got to trim that because it's a bit too long. I just made it bigger. I will show you that once I get that stuff. Once I get the tape pulled off. Here's the hood. Now it doesn't really look like much, and I didn't paint this at the same time as I did the body. So the screw is in the way. I didn't back it out far enough. Anyways, you kind of get the idea of where that's gonna sit and how it'll look. So let me set this down. Where did I put that other piece? Okay. So because it's an 89, or modeled after an 89, it would have had a 3-piece grille, which would have looked like this. Now I do have clear lenses to go in here. I might show you those later. I have orange lenses that I made for the marker lights. And then you have this piece. This would have been a piece of metal that went around the bottom. Now all of this is attached by tiny 3mm machine screws, so that if I ever had to, I could take it off and get at the LEDs to replace them or whatever, or if I broke a piece, I could take it off, remake it, put it back on. And I don't know if I'll be able to get the bumper on there, but I will try. With the bumper, you can kind of see how that would look. So that is the front. Move some of that away. And of course, there is a box. So this is a short box because you couldn't get an extended cab long box S10. If you ever see one, somebody's made it. So I still have a bit of work to do on the box. I have to cut out this lower section at the front because that wouldn't have been there. I have to mark out where the gas door would have gone. I actually do have red lenses with a clear spot for reverse light, backup, or reverse light, brake light, and turn signal, because I have a full lighting kit for this. You can see inside it's got the little grooves, and as well I have a tailgate. Now this is all styrene as well, and this tailgate probably has 30 hours into it. There's a ridiculous amount of time into this. I don't know how well you can see that. And I will show you why it took so long to make. It is hinged, and listen, it actually latches in place. And if you watch, the handle's actually a little bit difficult, but come on. I can take the handle. It's actually easier to twist it, but give it a twist and it opens, and you can see how it does that. Just figuring out that mechanism took like 5 hours of sitting here and staring at this thing. Then I finally made it, and then, well, now I have to skin it. Skinning it was a pain in the ass because you have to round the top, and styrene doesn't bend like that. So I had to put little slices in it and slowly get it to roll over. So that is that. When I get the tape off, I'll show you the interior, which I think you'll like. So I'll put this aside. All right, well, this is what it looks like without the tape. And as you can see on the inside, a lot of work got into these door panels. That took a hell of a long time. I guess you'd have to know what the inside of a S10 looks like to relate to if that's correct or not, but it's pretty damn close. All these little lines and stuff. And the next thing I'm going to show you is the dashboard, which took even friggin' longer. This will be a size comparison too. That is the dashboard. Little steering wheel. It's got the wiper or the turn signal lever, gear shifter because it's automatic. Little radio. All the little vents and stuff. They took a long time to do. The little light switches, running lights, and nighttime lights, and yeah. Now, this is actually really easy to install. Just slips in. And I'm not sure if I'll glue this in. I might leave it. Uh-oh. I never thought about that. Shit. When I made the mirrors. Oh, okay. I don't know. When I made the mirrors, I never thought about how much harder it was going to be to get this in. shit, motherfucker. Son of a moose antler. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, so it's a pain in the ass because these mirrors, what I did is I made them so they can fold. So there's a little piece of mechanics wire that comes through. It actually goes all the way through to the inside, and it's kind of in the way now. But that's okay. So anyways, like I was saying, I probably won't glue this in because if anything ever gets damaged, I'm going to have a driver. If he ever breaks anything off, I can take it out and fix it outside. Because there's nothing worse than trying to squeeze in there with a pair of pliers or tweezers. So that's with the dashboard in. And just so you know, the roof is removable. Because once I made these side panels, I realized that I had set the firewall back too far. And if I wanted to make the doors open, it would have actually come through where the firewall is, like the line there. So I really didn't want to have to go back and move that because I set the firewall back farther so that I could fit the motor, transmission, all the electronics up under the hood and still have inner fenders and have all the electronics and all that stuff hidden. So because of that, and I wanted to still have access to the inside, I just made the roof so it screws on and off. And I'm just going to paint. I need to get more screws like these instead of these ones. And I'll paint them white. And you really won't notice it that much. But it will, yes, it will take away from how good the truck looks. Now the next thing is seats. So these seats are made out of styrene, a little bit of foam, and an old t-shirt. They're actually upholstered with an old t-shirt. And then I just bondoed the back, as you can see how the bottom looked. So I bondoed the back because that's the part you would see, and I wanted it to look like the actual back of the seat. So it's kind of smooth now. So I don't know what you can see it in the video, but it's actually squishy. The headrest is squishy, and these just screw right in. This is the driver's seat, and it just goes like so. And passenger seat like so. So when they're screwed in, you kind of, you know what I mean? It'll sit there like that. That'll give me room to have a driver with really skinny legs. If he has big legs, he's not going to fit. So I guess I could actually always angle the dash up a bit just to get him in. But anyways, like I said, that's the benefit of not having the dashboard glued in. The next thing is the carpet on the floor is what they call flock. It's I have the bottle somewhere, I'll grab it. Basically, you just put white glue wherever you want it to stick, you sprinkle it on, and then you shake the rest off or dump it off. It is second fine turf. So it's actually meant for this one in particular is for railroads and stuff. But it's just a really fine powder. Like, it's gonna make a mess, but I'm gonna show you. So it's just it's like granulized black foam. It's kind of cool. It's really easy to work with, and look, it's $13, and that's it. It wasn't even full. It was maybe up to there, and that's how much I used to do that. So this will last a long time. Not like I'll ever use it. I'll probably be giving it away to friends and my brother if they ever build one, which they probably won't. Actually, my brother Scott might. He's actually 3D printing a Chevy 1500, like a 1988 to 1998 regular cab short box, because he has a thing for those trucks. I have a thing for these trucks. Maybe one day he'll let me show off his 3D printing on this this channel. But anyways, that's that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I've got a lot to do. Oh, before I do that, actually, a couple more things for the interior. There's the console that'll sit right there on the hump. This is what would cover the jack, and the tire iron that would be in the back seat goes there. And then this, of course, is the 4-wheel drive shifter trim. Yeah, so here's the shifter. This is actually out of an Axial detail parts kit or whatever. I have it over there, the rest of it. So that'll just go like that. It'll get glued in place. And then this will all get painted to match the interior. Ah, shit. Anyways, you get the point. It'll get painted to match the interior. I've got to draw the little detail thing there where it says if you're in 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, 4 low, or neutral. And then that will get glued onto the hump. Right about there. Something like that. Yes. Okay, and the other thing is, you might notice the transmission tunnel and the hump on the floor are a lot bigger than they should be. There's a damn good reason for that. I want to be able to use the same transmission and transfer case setup that is on the Deuce and a Half. So by doing this, it gives me room for underneath to have the transmission sitting here with a drive shaft coming back to the GCM 1-to-1 transfer case, which will sit somewhere right about there. And then from there, I will have a drive shaft coming to the rear end, and then another one coming up this way to the front. So that just gives me a little more room, because now I can actually sync it up a little bit, and I can actually have the motor and tranny somewhere. But anyways, that's why it is the way it is. That's why I made it that way. The other thing I have is a little hood prop. Just like that. And when the hood is on and you open it, you just take it, spin it, and it holds the hood. All right, let's see what I can do to this thing today.